we left off with your group in the fortress, opening the door to the door marked isolation.
Right.
You felt that familiar tug now as your soul was kind of pulled forward, and when you kind of come to in a flurry of snow and ice, just like the other ones, you find yourself standing in the tundra, just like the other 2 times. You are facing a camp with warriors, just like the other 2, pretty much just like the other 2.
Okay.
This one looks a little more lively like the last one. The first one was probably the worst off.
Right.
But glancing around, you are alone. Your party members did not come with you.
Okay. So that kind of makes a little bit of sense, right? Test of isolation, all the party members. I'm going to assume that they're off on their own isolated sections right now. I don't know if it moves, but like if I try to look, I assume I have the glowy symbol above my head again. If I can look.
Yeah. Yeah.
Reflective sword
you can
surface.
figure it out. You do have the snowflake.
Okay. So the last 2 times we did this, the challenge seemed to have something to do with the tribe that we were, or the group that we were teleported to. So I think I would assume the same thing would happen this time. Looking around, are people like walking around? Are they like, you said it was a little bit more lively. Like, are they preparing for something? Are they like, can I get a general pulse of what's going on in the camp just by looking around?
Yeah, it does look like they're preparing for something. Make a perception check for me.
Okay. First roll, let's go. That is a dirty 1.
You're not really familiar with camp life. Just looks like people are being busy. Not really sure of any other specifics.
Okay. Then I'll take a step forward and sort of call out, hello?
As you approach, one of the warriors will look up and notice you and kind of respond, I see. I take it you want to talk to our queen.
I believe so. I'm not entirely sure who I should be talking to, but Queen seems like the right kind of person.
This way. And he just kind of turns and leads you to the center of the camp.
Okay.
You walk into this center tent, and you see a female humanoid using a stone to sharpen the edges of a great axe, with a saber-toothed tiger next to her, who watches you from the moment you kind of step in. As she noticed you, she goes, Arl has blessed us. The Frost Maiden has sent an emissary to watch our camp while we complete our mission.
Sure. If that is what you need me to do, it seems to me like I've been through a number of tasks for the Frost Maiden lately, and I'll be delighted to stay and watch your camp.
This could not come at a better time. We are planning to leave shortly here, and with all of our numbers to ensure victory, but now that you're here, we don't have to dismantle camp. We can leave it here and return with our spoils.
Might I inquire as to where you go to seek victory?
Oh, there is a nearby elk tribe that we're going to attack and steal their food.
Didn't we just come from the elk tribe?
You did.
I see. Well, if what you require of me is to stay here presumably alone and watch your camp? I believe I can do that.
Splendid. You should find some supplies, such as food and water to keep you. I don't imagine we'll be more than a day or two, so you should have plenty to suffice until we return. Although I would ask that you don't gorge yourself, as this whole point is to bolster our food supplies, not drain them.
Of course, that seems entirely reasonable. And I should have some basic rations of my own left, right? Like, all of us would... We never really talked about it in-game, but I think everyone sort of assumes that we carry at least a normal couple days worth of rations with us.
Yeah. Yeah, usually I just assume that you guys kind of stock up, especially when you know you're leaving the 10 towns, so...
Right. Okay. Camp. And she said I can use their food and water if needed, but not to gorge myself on it, right?
Correct.
Okay. Well, May's thinking right now that this staying here alone and watching camp definitely does seem like a test of isolation, or at least being alone, so that tracks. Okay, all right. When do you plan on leaving?
We should be ready to go in just an hour or so.
All right. Anything else I should know about the camp? Are there any dangers that tend to peruse the wild around here? That's a fine-looking tiger. I'm assuming she serves some purpose other than just a decorative guard.
Her name is Grava, and she is mine. Will come with me.
All right. Yes, I assumed that would probably be the case, but any dangers that might encroach upon the camp that you might know of, or?
Just be on the lookout for anything that could be in the tundra.
Okay.
We've been here for a little while now, so I wouldn't expect anything too crazy, but you never know. It is the wilds of Icewind Dale.
Fair enough. Then I think if there's no other advice or recommendations you might have for me while you go hunt, I think I'll walk the camp and get familiar with it while you get ready to leave, if that's all right.
That sounds very wise.
If you knew my friends, being wise is the last thing they'd accuse me of, but sometimes I have a good idea or two. And I guess with that, I give her a short bow, because she is a queen. That seems respectful, and walk out of the tent and start trying to familiarize myself with this camp. Layout of the tents, where the supplies would be if they're needed, anything like that.
Okay. Make me... like an investigation check to kind of walk around and place everything and...
Oh, very good. That is a natural 19 for a 28.
Okay, yeah, easy enough. You are pretty familiar with general, like, logical
General logistics?
place. Yeah.
All right.
So easy enough to kind of walk around, get a lay of the land, and feel out where everything is. You kind of ask for a few people in the area, like, you know, where's the specifics, and they tell you, kind of show you where the store crates are, and
Sure.
The camp is decent sized, kind of laid out similar to the other two, where there's kind of like outer rings that get smaller and tighter as they get towards the queen's central tent.
Okay.
There's no like defined perimeter.
Yeah, it's just sort of loose.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The tents and everything look on the more rugged side as they're
Sure.
put up, taken down, and their main source of living.
Yeah, okay. All right. Okay. I think that's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So while you're familiarizing yourself, you do notice at this point that you're able to put together that everyone is preparing to leave, gathering their supplies for a journey, their weapons for an attack, sharpening things, making sure, handles aren't loose and stuff like that. So,
Yep.
in about an hour, the queen heads out, gathers her tribe, kind of bids you farewell, and says, "We will see you in a day or two upon our success."
I wish you the best of luck.
And they head out into the tundra. You do notice that even though it is currently clear, they do kind of become hard to see pretty quickly as they are skilled at blending in with their surroundings here in the tundra.
Yeah, makes sense. Anyone who lives out here would have a little bit of skill like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So just settle in to wait.
Yeah, so I know this is a test of isolation. And so normally I think May would have just tried to set herself up in the queen's tent in a nice center where it's probably the most well protected and nice and warm. But that doesn't seem quite like the spirit of the trial. And so even though it's kind of the dumb thing to do, I think she'd try to find a tent on that loosely defined perimeter that not in the worst shape, but probably in as good a shape as she could find out there, but one just near the perimeter where she could sort of use a shelter during the night or whatnot, but something away from the center.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, easy enough to find. You kind of had clocked them all on your walk originally, so you have one in mind that you go kind of set up in. It's very bare bones, just kind of
Yep.
blocking from the elements. Nothing else. There are various fire pits scattered around, so there's one close enough that you can use if you want to have a fire. And
that would probably be a good idea. Pick one somewhat near a fire pit. Just because we don't have to be entirely stupid about this.
Yep.
Yeah, and then I guess I'd start a schedule every maybe 20 minutes, get up, do a walk around, come back. Yeah, that sort of thing. Just sort of start for the first couple hours, just start establishing a regular sort of patrol and schedule, sit and making sure my single tent near the edge is in good shape, I guess.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead and make me a perception check as you do your rounds.
6.
Looks perfectly fine. The camp is empty. As far as you can see, it's empty.
Camp is empty. Excellent. Exactly as I was told. Okay.
The rest of this day passes.
At some point, probably during the day, I'd see if there's There's probably not, but if there's fire pits, then there had to have been something to burn in said fire pits, which would imply that there is some sort of supply of like firewood.
Yeah, you could have clocked it when you were doing your kind of scope. And near the storehouses, there is a small supply, well, rather large given the size of the camp.
Yeah.
But you kind of can gather a small portion for how many fires there would be.
So it'd probably take a little bit to get a small fire going, at least to start the night, since it's cold out here, yo.
Yes, it is. Okay, yep, easy enough to start, just a small fire.
Okay.
The pits are already set up for it, so you're just kind of getting the wood, the timber and flames going, and the wood's kept pretty dry, so it catches pretty easily. So you're able to just sit down and kind of enjoy the silence.
No annoying kobolds at last.
No annoying anything. The first day passes. Stay up a little into the evening. Then start your trance.
Yep.
Wake the next day.
Okay.
You only had one exhaustion, correct?
Yes, and
So
and
that
I
you
got,
have been-
and I believe we took a long
Yes, you
rest
did.
before the trial, so I'm clear of
Yep.
clear of exhaustion. Yes.
Just checking.
Yes.
So anything specific you'd like to do on this day?
For the most part, keep the same kind of schedule. If nothing comes up, probably take some time and do a little bit of like reflection, particularly about the first trial, because like the trial of cruelty was kind of like what's the word? It was for May. It would have been a little bit triggering and reminder of her childhood, because that's kind of how Drow are like in a way. And that's kind of why she agreed to do it so easily. It was like oh, yes, teacher, I will gladly immediately do this instruction so I don't get punished further sort of thing. And it's a bit of probably a bit bothersome that she was, like, she's probably a bit bothered that she was so readily, like, willing to do that. And would spend a fair amount of time just thinking on that over the course of the day.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you just kind of jumped in without thinking.
Yeah. Kind of like an instinctual response to
Definitely. And you had thought yourself kind of past that point with how many years you've spent away from your family and community at this point.
Yeah.
For that to have just been the first thought with no other thought is a little bit disheartening for all the work you've kind of put in
It
at
is.
this point.
Yeah.
So definitely troublesome.
Yep.
Go ahead and make me a survival check.
Oh boy. Survival, huh? May's great at these. She always leads the group. That's 13.
Okay.
Roll a 15.
Nice.
That's the die that got me through the endurance test, so I'm gonna keep using it until it fails me.
Yep, the day passes. No sign of anything. No sounds.
Okay. Nothing.
Nothing changes. Don't even really hear any animal presence. Like the wind's pretty still. It's just very nothingness.
Okay. How's in general, like, how's the weather? Like, does it look like there's a storm on the horizon? Does it look like it's been mostly clear? If it's been just that sort of nothingness, I would think it's probably been either really overcast and just, or it's actually kind of like clear-ish. As clear as Icewind Dale ever gets.
Yeah, Icewind Dale never really gets clear. It's always kind of overcast.
Yeah.
That's kind of the whole point of what Arhel's doing.
Yeah.
So while the skies are just clouds, it is just a solid, like, single color cloud as far as you can see. There's no definition, nothing that would indicate a storm at this point.
Okay.
Or that's how the second day goes.
Yeah.
For the whole day.
Yeah, so like I said, most of the day she's probably going to spend just thinking on that first trial, and just spending like a day of self-reflection in the isolation is, you know, taking that moment like you would on almost a vacation to really sort of think about your life a little bit. So,
Yeah. Settled in. This is not an issue so far. May's been on her own before, and
Number of times.
feeling confident at this point.
Yeah.
Go to sleep. Wake up the next day. It's quiet.
This is day 3? Or...
Yeah, so you started on day 1 when you came because it was pretty much morning.
Right.
So then this is the second sleep, third morning.
Gotcha.
However you want to. So.
Okay.
Based on what the queen said, you would expect her probably by today.
Yeah, hopefully today if nothing's gone wrong or been delayed or anything like that. Okay. Good deal. Then yeah, get up, exit the trance. If I exited my trance when it's still dark out, anything interesting in the sky, like any of those lights that I saw before? Like any aurora or anything like that?
Yeah, this night there is actually a bit of the aurora you can see in the sky overhead.
Then after I kind of get out of my trance and start beginning my day, since my days are 20-hour days, I guess. Is the day's 24 hours in this world?
Yeah, it is.
Then probably spend that initial time like kind of like I did in Bremen, where I was sitting on the roof and just sort of watching the sky, trying to like get a nice spot, watch the aurora a bit, and probably just sort of like talk out loud a little bit to Ariel and be like, is that you that wanted to be freed? Why do you want to be free? What's keeping you? Just sort of like ponder those sort of questions, right? And really kind of try to think on, are you an ally or an enemy to us?
Okay. Yeah, you ponder it, nothing...
Ponder. I'm not expecting a response, but like, just, thinking. That's really what isolation is good for, right? And May's an intellectual, so she's going to do a lot of thinking.
Go ahead and make me another survival check.
All right, let's go. That was a 0.
So you rolled a 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
Betrayal.
Make me a wisdom saving throw.
All right, do we go for the redemption arc or do we try a different die? Redemption arc. Oh no, that's a 6.
6?
Yeah.
Okay. Give me a minute.
That's why, kids, you don't pick modifiers that are -2 for important skills. I'm writing down third day in my journal.
Let me use the dice you gave me. So, on the third day, a bit of reality is sinking in a little bit that you're out in the middle of nowhere, alone. And it's starting to kind of like niggle at the back of your brain. And kind of in the middle of the day, you just start getting really worried about it, and just it's running through your brain, can't get it out of your head. And you feel a sort of familiar sensation as a indefinite madness overcomes you.
Okay.
For this one, until cured, you must bend the truth, exaggerate, or outright lie to be interesting to other people.
All right. So I must bend the truth, Was it then to
Exaggerate.
over exaggerate or outright lie?
Yes. To be interesting to other people.
And just so Martin's clear, that is I think I have to do those things to be interesting to other people. It's not like a magical curse where you have to do that or other people just sort of ignore you. I just think that I have to.
Yes.
Okay.
It's basically like an anxiety.
Yeah, it's like super anxiety. Okay. All right.
Congratulations, May. You are now an anxious person. Thinks nobody loves her.
Everyone does love me.
As these thoughts are kind of swirling, you almost feel like the wind starts to pick up around you, and you see a storm roll in, and a blizzard starts around you.
Okay.
So with the limited visibility, the higher winds, and this now creeping sensation in the back of your brain, you almost think you're starting to hear voices in the wind.
Okay.
3 days is a long time to not talk to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not insane. You know that there's nobody in the wind talking to you.
Right.
But when you start to kind of calm down, there it is again. You're like, I swear I heard it this time. But maybe it's just the wind.
Okay.
Unless you do something like kind of put up some wind shields, your fire would go out.
Yeah, I'd probably try to barricade it a little bit. Maybe move the tent a little bit. Probably not closer. Moving a tent close to fire in a high wind is a bad idea.
Yeah, probably not the best idea.
But yeah, try to put up a little bit of a shield around the fire and probably barricade. Well, not barricade, but definitely. Definitely stay inside the tent most of the time. Probably do less patrols around the outside. I know from experience in this place that blizzards are bad, and I don't want to start wandering. I need to stay here. Like I've been tasked to stay here, and even though it sucks being alone, I don't want to go out. So I will sort of stay in the tent, shield the fire a little bit, but mostly just stay in the tent.
Okay. The day comes to an end, and there's no sight or sound of the queen or her tribe returning.
Oh, good. Okay. Okay.
So another night passes.
Mm-hmm.
You wake up. It's still blizzarding, and there's still no signs of anyone.
And I'm really starting to feel that that those voice the voice a little bit. Like the anxiousness is probably starting to get to me a lot, or at least more. Right?
Sure. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna roll a dice for me real quick. Okay.
Dice, the best deciding factors.
Yeah. So probably after what is these? I don't want to. I'm trying to do this in a way that May would also be smart about it, because she's not an idiot. Probably over the course of the day, maybe once every 2 hours or so, just for familiar comfort, and because things are starting to get a little weird, she would activate her Crimson Right and just sort of get that pain going a little bit to ground yourself that you're here, this is real, and then let it fade away and just use that as a reminder to stay grounded in the moment.
Okay. Yeah, it definitely, I want to say triggers you, but in a good way.
Yeah.
In that familiar sense,
Yeah.
This is who I am, what I can do.
Yeah.
If you want to roll your damage just for funsies,
I mean, that's kind of what I was just figuring out in my head, is she would not do this to the point where she was in danger of dying from doing it again. But I guess we'll say, I would say, tell me if we're about to get into some point where hit points matter, and then I'll roll it out. Until then, we'll just say that she has some number of hit points left that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine.
If that works.
Yeah. I obviously, and she knows her capabilities. She's not trying to kill herself, unless she is.
No,
but
no. Still want to pass the trial. I'm indefinitely mad, not suicidal.
Yeah. So,
but it does act as like a grounding thing in the midst of the blizzard and the mental struggle going on. I would picture it as that pain sort of cutting through it and providing it a moment of clarity for a moment.
Right. Yep. Go ahead and make a survival check for today.
Oh no. 12.
Okay. The day passes. No signs of anything. You're feeling a little, for as deafening as the silence was, the blizzard is just as deafening with its constant noise, and it doesn't change. So while it's something, it's so constant in its noisiness that it's
its own challenge.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So far, you're gonna have to kind of be a judge on this of when the personal rations would run out or not, because we probably would have used some on the way up here, and we wouldn't really have had the chance to restock at any particular point. So you're gonna have to tell me when my personal rations would run out, when that would make sense. Because the way I figure it is, we probably would have restocked before we left Bremen, but then we would have had the journey up to the whale, the journey of the whale, and then like the day that we've spent. So we actually probably didn't have more than 1 or 2 days rations on us by the time this was over. If you go by the normal 10-day amount, this is kind of up to you. How, Miss DM, how do you want to play this?
Well, it's about a 3-day journey to the whale.
Yeah.
You would know, or V would have known it was a roughly 3 days for the whale. So just going there and coming back, assuming you were on the island for a day, is already 13 days just to do the round trip.
Yep. So we would have at least had that. We would have at least had 13 days worth.
Yeah, so I think it would probably make sense, unless you feel like you would do more. I would say 20 would probably be a good estimate of what you started with.
Okay.
So that would be 3, 6...
that seems reasonable.
And then 7 for the 1 day you've spent on the island so far. Plus this is 4 in this test. Whether you want to use yours or theirs is up to you.
From a purely guessing standpoint, May's thinking again, she's determined to pass this if she can. Just like she was determined to pass the endurance one and the cruelty one. If she can, she would stick to her own rations and not use the camp supplies, because it seems like that would be more of a isolation thing of relying on what you have on you and what you brought with you, rather than borrowing and relying on someone else.
Okay.
So she would try to do that.
Okay. That's fair. So that puts you at 11 total?
Used.
Spent? Yeah.
So 9. Okay, so I'm going to write that down. 9. And that's as of the beginning of the 4th day, or as of the end of the 4th day?
The end of the 4th day. You would have used rations on the 4th day.
Okay.
Okay. You wake up on the 5th day. It's still storming. There's still no signs of anybody.
Really starting to hate this. Right. It's still storming. I guess occasionally go out, make sure the tent isn't blocked with snow. I'm guessing keeping a fire going at this point is going to be near impossible if it's been storming for 24 hours plus. So probably give up on the fire idea.
It would have gone out
yeah.
overnight.
Yeah.
Probably earlier yesterday, as you were trying to keep to the tent as well, and the snow is not really piling up.
Yep.
Because the wind is blowing so much. There's definitely some drifts you see on different sides of different tents, but nothing that's like blocking you or anything.
Just making sure there's not a drift in front of my tent.
Yeah, there'd probably be one off to the side, near one side of the tent, but
Okay.
not preventing you from getting in and out.
And maybe go over to a couple of other nearby tents and maybe poach an extra blanket or two, just because no fire, and again, trying to stay isolated but not being stupid about things.
Yeah, it's definitely cold.
Yeah. So do that, but then as long as it's still storming, she's spending most of the day inside the tent. Like, as much as she thought she was the greatest at everything, there is a not so small part of me that knows she really shouldn't be wandering the wilderness or doing things outside compared to the other members of the group who were better at it. So
Sure.
So most of the day is gonna be spent in the tent again. Probably doing more of the again, that same thing with the right, just whenever the anxiousness gets a little in there. Maybe not as much if today's a little bit of a better day.
Okay. How would you say that she's feeling at this point?
A mixture right now. She's not feeling bad, but it's a lot worse than she realizes. Because May is used to being on her own a lot. And being very self-reliant and self-dependent, particularly in the period of time after she left the Drow civilization and before she got to Icewind Dale. So being alone and having to rely on herself isn't unusual. But kind of like you alluded to a little bit earlier, kind of thought she had moved past that a little bit. And this whole trial is forcing her to sort of reach back into a skill sets and a mindset of the person she used to be and not the person she wanted to be. And so she's doing okay. Like, it's not a matter of it's not a matter of like mentally breaking right now, but I would say that by the end of the trial, depending upon how long this goes, she'll probably be a slightly different person that comes out on the other end, and not in a good way. little bit more of who she used to be, and not who she was trying to be.
Okay. The 5th day passes.
Okay.
Did you roll your
You didn't...
survival check today?
No.
Okay, roll a survival check.
No. Don't want
You're like, I mean, yes.
That's a -1. That is a natural 1 for a -1.
Okay. Make me a wisdom saving throw.
Dice don't roll natural ones back to back. That's a 9.
Okay.
Technically a 1 and then an 11 is triple ones, which is great odds.
Yeah, look at the positives.
Am I gonna get a second form of indefinite madness?
Can you have multiple forms of madness?
I don't know, can I? Oh no. Oh no.
Okay. So, this one is a long-term madness effect.
Okay. That sounds good.
um, you have become attached to a lucky charm.
Okay.
Which will be a little trinket that you found in the tent that you were staying in. And you will have disadvantage on attack rolls, ability checks, and saving throws when you're more than 30 feet away from it.
Okay. Ability checks. Any saving throws. What kind of trinket is it, or can like just figure that out?
We'll say roll me a D100.
$73.
You find a little pouch of seashells.
Oh, okay. Poacher's seashells. All right. Fantastic. Then clinging to the little pouch of seashells. If it's got like a little, if it's got like a drawstring on it, can I make it like wear it like a necklace?
Sure. It probably wouldn't have that on its own, but easy enough to take some of your rope or find some cord.
Yeah.
And make a tie long enough to tie around your neck.
Okay.
Yeah, you do that. So that's kind of how you spend the 5th day.
Okay. All right. Very good. Right. She probably that night probably actually try to sleep and not trance.
Okay.
Because elves can do that if they want, right?
Sure.
I'm pretty sure they can. I'm pretty sure elves can choose to try to sleep if they want to instead of trance. It's just...
We've had it once before, I believe, where you were so exhausted from something that you, like, slept.
Yeah.
So I feel like we've got that precedence already in our campaign. And I don't see why not. I mean, it's not something you're used to, but if you're feeling it,
but when you're feeling it,
yeah.
Yeah, I think she'd be feeling it.
Okay. You go to sleep.
Yes.
You wake up. No signs of anybody. It's still storming.
It's a test of isolation.
How you feeling?
I mean, developing a tell where every like little while, rubs that lucky pouch of seashells. But I mean, like as bad as it is, I don't think that there's a higher priority than passing the trial right now. Like, So, like, under, when it comes to May, right? Like, everything that her character has always ever done, both in the backstory and, like, in the campaign, it's always been sort of underlying by just an incredible fear of failure. And so I think as a fundamental character trait, she would literally do anything before admitting defeat, which means that she's gonna just stay in the tent and try to stick this out somehow. Like, I don't know how well it's gonna go, but at this point it's kind of just like bundling up in the furs, rocking back and forth, and just being like, not leaving.
Okay. Make me a survival check.
Oh boy. That is an 8.
Okay. Make me a wisdom saving throw.
Oh boy. Come on. Hey, that's a 12. It's not too bad. It's not too bad for me.
Yeah. I mean, it's your best one yet, right?
I think it ties for the best one. I think, yeah, because I think I had a 12 on one of the survival checks.
Survival checks, yeah, but
So, yeah.
the
saving throw,
two
yeah.
saving throws you've done, I think you had like a 0 and a negative -1. So it's really good for you.
Yeah. Feeling great about it. Feeling great about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's enough to get you by.
Okay.
For today.
Sometimes that's all you gotta do is just get through the day.
Yep.
Just get through the day. Get through the day. Okay, just get through the day. Does it ever stop storming at any point?
Not yet.
Alright. You know what? I suppose at some point during the day, she would probably just try to call out in her mind, like, anyone there with, like, her knowing a telepathic ability. No one can respond to it if they're there, but that doesn't really matter. That's not the principle of matter at this point. It's just a,
Is that one like a 30-foot radius you can call out, or you need to see somebody?
Oh, you're right. No, I do need to see someone. She would still try.
Okay. You do. You say some stuff.
Yeah.
What would you say?
Probably be like, I know you're back from that hunt already. This is just part of the trial. We'd really appreciate it if we could just move on with this. That sort of thing.
Okay. You just kind of feel it echo in your head, in the space around you.
Seashells.
The day passes.
Okay. That's the end of the 6th day?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Coming up on a week here. All right.
Wake up the next morning.
Mm-hmm. After probably sleeping again.
Okay.
Anything to help pass the time at this point.
Sure. Definitely.
Yeah.
Don't need those extra 4 hours when there's
Nope.
nothing else to do.
Nope.
How you feeling today? Still storming. Still no signs of anybody.
Really ready to be done with this. No signs of anybody. Still storming.
Haven't heard from any of your companions.
Check if the symbol's still above my head.
Yep.
Still there?
Yep.
Anything fun she would do? I mean, she's not doing great, but like I said before, she would have to be pushed to the point of just about starving to death before trying to give up on this trial. So even though it sucks right now, it's no more or worse hardship in a way than anything she's faced before. It's just different and uncomfortable, and like, compared to being exiled from one's home or on the run from a whole bunch of like angry guards, like it's different, but it's still kind of a like we still have a chance at this. Like just got to be persistent. Just got to hold through. We've been through worse. That's probably the mantra of the seventh day is we've been through worse. We've been through worse. Right, seashells? We've been through worse.
Yeah. It has been a little bit since you've been on your own.
Yeah.
Truly, the group,
Yeah.
Vorks, they all were starting to feel like a new family.
Yeah.
It's the first time you haven't been with them since starting out with them
Yeah.
as a group.
She's definitely missing the others. Probably Vorks and Domino the most. Probably not for Asterix that much. Probably pretty neutral towards Kai. Like sometimes he seems like a really good guy, and sometimes he just sort of seems like this unknowable entity. And Soren's just weird.
Fair.
So definitely probably Vorks and Domino the most.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. They both are pretty commanding presence in their own right. Vorks for obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Domino just has a way of kind of working herself into kind of the hearts of people that she's around, even though she's a little bit on the quieter side, at least compared to Vorks, and she's just kind of always there if you need her.
Mm-hmm.
And she hasn't been now for almost a week. And she hasn't been there to pick up on your silences or kind of lighten the mood or sing a little song.
Yeah, it's depressing.
Yeah. Make me a survival check for that.
8. I'm rolling a lot of 10s today.
Yeah.
10s and 11s and 12s. So it's been really sucks when you have -2 modifier.
Yeah, it does. Go ahead and make me a wisdom saving throw.
4.
I mean, when you don't change out the dice.
Amber, you've seen me roll for this entire campaign. It's not going to help.
Yeah. Weren't we talking about how you wanted to take 12s for the averages of everything?
Yeah, doing pretty good on that actually. That's
Probably would
about
have been better.
it's about what I'm rolling. Maybe a little bit better. Yeah, that'd make an average roll of a 10.
Yeah. You feel that creeping sensation in the back of your brain that you've experienced twice now.
Mm-hmm.
The voices kind of pick up in the wind again. And you get another long-term madness. This one, you find your hands begin to shake periodically with uncontrollable tremors.
Hmm.
And that will impose disadvantage on attack rolls, ability checks, and saving throws that involve strength or dexterity.
So all of them.
Well, not saving throws. Or ability checks. Like, there's ones that aren't strength or dexterity.
No, but like all attack rolls.
Yes, all attack rolls.
Okay.
Did I tell you how long the other one lasts?
No.
So the indefinite madness lasts until cured, or
Okay.
removed, or whatever, however you get rid of it.
Yeah.
The first long-term madness will last 70 hours, just since it'll be easier for you to keep track of passing time.
Okay.
This one will only last for 20 hours.
Okay. It was attack rolls, ability checks, and saving throws for strength and dexterity?
Right.
So the whole shebang for dexterity. Okay. Okay. Great. And that was at the end, that was the 7th day?
Yep.
Great. Not exhausted, but not doing so hot.
So,
Yeah.
as you go to sleep tonight,
Mm-hmm.
would you trance or sleep?
Sleep.
Okay. A few hours into your sleep, you are awakened with some kind of deep noises, just kind of mixed in with like the noises of the blizzard.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of peek your head out a little bit to just see what's going on. And off in the distance, you see the tribe returning.
Okay.
As they approach, with the queen at the front with her tiger.
Yes.
The blizzard's still going, so as they come pretty much into the camp, you would see that their sleds are packed with reindeer meat.
All right. Then I guess they all make their way in. I would head to gather up my stuff, make sure I have my lucky seashell pouch, and head on over to the queen's tent. I'm assuming she's kind of going there to like start doing her logistics from her headquarters and whatnot.
Yeah, you can kind of follow at least the queen over to where she's gonna set up. As more and more of the tribe kind of makes it to camp, it becomes pretty loud and boisterous, even for into the night, but which is very jarring for you, having not heard anything for days.
Yeah, it's like a mixture of welcome and extremely uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Walking into the tent with the queen, she would exclaim, "Ah, you're still here! The tent's still here! This is wonderful! I couldn't have asked for a better outcome."
Yeah, it was easy. It was really just a couple of days, no big deal. I'm glad to see your hunt was successful.
Well, we appreciate you watching, and I'm glad it was not a trouble for you, even if it was longer than we thought, but we just had such overwhelming success, I had to see it through to the end.
Do admit I may have been a little concerned for you after the 4th or 5th day, but it was just a passing thing. I knew you would be fine.
She kind of looks at you like,
Yeah.
but she doesn't say anything or comment on it. She will say, well, I thank you and the Frost Maiden for allowing this venture to happen. If you need anything in the future, you find us, we're happy to assist.
Of course. I'm sorry, I was terribly rude of me before you left, but I forgot to ask your name.
Oh, I am Bjornhild Solvig's daughter.
Okay. How do you spell that?
First name,
Yeah.
B-J-O-R-N-H-I-L-D. Ornhild.
It's all part of the first name.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Last name is Solvigsdottir.
Okay.
Solvigsdottir.
Solvigsdottir. Yeah, that's your traditional Norse naming scheme.
Sure.
Yeah. Because the Old Norse, they used to be like if you look at the pantheon, right, it would be Thor, Odin's son.
Mm-hmm.
This is the opposite. Dottir is daughter.
Oh.
So it would be Solveig would have been her father. So Solvigsdottir.
Yes. That doesn't mean my pronunciation is
Fair.
is better, but yes.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Then I'll hold out my hand to her and say, Mayorna, pleasure to have worked with you.
She shakes your hand in just one, like, hearty...
Yep. My grip is not that strong. Not right now.
Your hand is a little shaky,
Yeah.
still.
Yeah.
But she doesn't comment.
Okay.
Her grasp is strong and steady.
Figured. And then I'll give her a nod and I guess leave and walk to the edge of the camp like you've done on all the other trials.
Okay. As you get outside the camp,
Yeah.
you feel that tug, and you are transported back to the Frost Maiden's
Frostmaiden Sanctuary.
fortress, into a room that you left.
Is any of my group there yet, or is it just me so far?
We will pick up there when we are all back together.
So I was gonna say if I'm the first one to arrive, she'd probably take a little bit of a half a moment to break down just a little bit if she's alone.
I'll say it kind of happens as you're walking out of the camp. Right at the point where, because everyone's kind of focused in the circle, in the center of the circle.
Yeah.
Because they're all kind of divvying up and running through what supplies they have, sorting the meat and whatever. So pretty much all of the camp is focused in the center at this point. Yeah. So as you get outside of the ruckus is when you kind of just... The tears start.
There's a couple. Not a ton, but there's definitely a couple.
You keep walking. It's just one of those things where, like, you're walking, you don't even almost acknowledge it. The tears just kind of fall as you approach the edge of the camp, into the darkness, away from the noise.
Yep. All right. And back in the fortress.
Yep.
All right.
That's where we'll pick up next time.
Great.
So, we are picking up with you guys having just entered the door marked isolation. You feel that familiar pull sensation that you felt the last couple doors you've gone through, and you're drawn out of the space and come to in a flurry of snow and ice. When your vision clears, you find yourself standing at the edge of a camp, similar to the last two you've seen. It is a clear sky, no storms, and there are warriors in camp appearing to be sharpening their weapons and preparing for something.
About how far?
60 or so feet.
I guess it's not like I can really hide. Just out in the open. Does it look like they've noticed me?
Not yet.
I guess I will openly approach.
Okay. Do you call out or anything, or?
No, not call out, but kind of like hands open, not hostile.
Okay. As you get pretty close, one does notice you and kind of looks, gives you a once over and goes, "So you're from the Frost Maiden, are you?"
Yes, that would be the case.
Guessing you're wanting to see our queen, then.
If she is your tribe's leader, yes.
Yes, this way. And he just kind of turns and starts walking to the center of camp.
I follow.
Okay. Pretty similar layout to the other camps. Outer, getting smaller circles into the middle where there's a larger camp, or a larger tent in the middle. As you walk into the central tent, you see a large humanoid woman. She is using a stone to sharpen the edges of her great axe, and there is a saber-toothed tiger sitting next to her, who kind of locks eyes with you the moment the tent flaps open and is just watching your every move. The woman will look up at you and go, "Ah! Arl has blessed us! The Frost Maiden has sent an emissary to watch our camp while we complete our mission."
Sounds about right.
Perfect. Then you can stay here, and I and my tribe are going out on a bit of a hunting expedition, and this way we don't have to pack up all the camp, and we'll know it's safe for our return.
Sounds like an arrangement to me. Any particular tasks I should do?
She'll say, no, just keep the camp standing. We've got a limited supply of resources that you can help yourself to, so you don't starve while you're here. But as this is a bit of a food gathering mission, I would ask that you don't gorge yourself, but be reasonable.
All right.
I expect us to be gone only a day or two.
That doesn't sound too bad. Good luck. Are you heading out right now, or first light, or?
Yeah, we'll need just about an hour or so to finish up our preparations and get everybody out and moving.
Alright. Well, if you don't mind, I'll do a quick scout around the camp.
Go for it. I'll get everything ready, and I'll see you on our way out.
Does it look like there were any other footprints, or obviously no one else seemed to have been around other than the camp?
Right. As a point of note, you are alone. Forgot to say that when you came to, but you did notice right away that the rest of your group's not with you. As for footprints on your walk in, make a perception check.
Eight.
Didn't notice any walking in. Didn't quite occur to you. And once you're in camp, there's tons of footprints that are presumably from the tribal members, so
Right.
nothing that would stand out as anything other than them. Anything else you want to do or ask before you kind of do a loop around the camp?
What is your name?
Oh, I am Bjornhild Slaviksdottir.
It is a honor to meet you. Does your tribe have a name?
Oh, we are the Tiger Tribe.
May I call you the Tiger Queen? Or,
Sure.
Okay, it's easier to say, I think.
You foreigners.
Sorry, new tongue and all.
She kind of brushes it aside.
Then I suppose I'll make myself at home and keep it standing. You said about a day?
Day or two, I expect. Yeah.
All right. I will leave you to your preparations then. I guess, should I expect anything? Does anything weird happen during the day or the night, or any visitors that might be coming by?
No, I wouldn't expect anything specific. Yeah, we are in the middle of a tundra in the Dale, so there's always some level of danger out here, but I'm not expecting any company or anything like that.
I see. What is your relationship to Oro?
Oh, she is our goddess. We are devoted to her and her rule over this area.
Seems reasonable. I think that's about it. I will leave you to your preparations then.
Good. I'll see you before we make our departure.
All right.
I'm sure you will notice the entire camp departing, but just
Sure.
in case.
Sure, it's not hard to miss.
As you leave the tent and make your way through the camp setup, doing kind of some preliminary scouting and getting a lay of the land and such, go ahead and make me an investigation check.
Uh, 15.
Okay, easy enough. You're pretty familiar with like camp setups, and just kind of the logical layout one might have. This is not the biggest camp. The elk tribe was really big. The bear camp was pretty small. This is about right in the middle. But easy enough to kind of find the perimeter, which is not a defined perimeter, but just kind of a rough end to what seems to be their camp layout. You also find the general storage area, where they've got some like food rations and some campfire wood and stuff like that one might need for survival.
Okay.
Unless there's anything specific you're looking for, then an hour goes by.
Yeah, not looking for anything in particular. If I don't see anyone from the group, just assume it's part of the trial.
Yep, it's just you. You don't see anybody you recognize. About an hour later, the camp's pretty much all ready up on sled dogs and outside of the edge of camp, and the queen will bid you farewell and say we'll see you in a day or two, and may Arl bless you in this endeavor.
And may Arl bless your hunt.
And she'll nod and then call for the tribe to head out, and they take off into the tundra. Even though it's pretty clear day and it's tundra, there's not a lot blocking your view. You do notice that they do disappear into the tundra pretty quickly. Just the way that their furs are and the nature of the tribe, they're pretty used to blending in with their surroundings.
Right, okay.
This would be morning, so they set out. What would you like to do?
I guess just make myself comfortable in whatever tent seems good for that.
Okay.
Get like a
Any
little fire going.
specifics? Any like placement specific you're looking for, or?
I don't think so. Maybe something a bit more interior rather than outer, assuming it was like the rings of
Yep,
tents.
it's
yeah.
the rings.
Yeah, something
Okay.
more interior, maybe just the big main tent.
Sure. Okay, that's
Probably
fine.
the most comfortable.
Easy enough. There's plenty of fire pits scattered around, so nothing too far. You make yourself comfortable. The day continues on.
I'll read Soren's journal, figure out bumper.
Okay,
That
that's
works. Figure out who this body is, maybe learn a bit more about the group.
Okay. that works. I'll leave that up to you since I figure you have a general idea of what Sorn would be writing in his journal anyways, so like how much information she's able to glean from that.
Yeah.
How specific Sorn was at any point and stuff like that. The first day passes. Night comes. You go to sleep. You wake up the next day.
-1 exhaustion.
Mm-hmm.
This would be about a day now since they left. Hang out outside a little bit, looking the direction that they went. See if I can see them coming at all.
Sure, make a perception check. I think should still be at disadvantage because that's the first one. Are you down to 2 left?
Yes.
Okay.
Natural 20 and a 17.
Okay. You feel pretty confident that there is nothing around. And as you're focusing on trying to look for the tribe, you realize there's not a whole lot of anything happening. You don't hear any animal sounds. The wind isn't even blowing. It's just very silent. The sky is very just kind of gray, not any discernible clouds or anything, just a solid colored sky, solid white ground, nothing around.
Maybe poke around some of the tents, just look for anything to entertain myself.
Okay, make an investigation check.
13.
It's pretty bare bones. Not a whole lot. You do know that these are nomadic people, so they wouldn't have a whole lot that would need to be taken down and put up regularly. So,
No personal belongings to poke through.
not really. Very, scarce people, it seems. Go ahead and make me a survival check, please.
What status survival? Wisdom?
Yes.
16.
Okay. Day passes. Easy enough. Nothing eventful happens. Unless there's anything else you'd like to do on this day.
Probably just be keeping warm in the tent and checking for the return.
Okay. No signs of anything. Night comes. Go to sleep. Wake up in the morning. Day 3. Which would only be about 48 hours from like when they left, so.
Right. So
Reasonable that this could be the second day.
A day or so.
Yeah. Any specifics or how you feeling?
Feeling probably about the same. Maybe getting a little antsy.
Okay.
A little worried that maybe this was a trick or a trap.
Okay. Make me a survival check.
Uh, 11.
Okay. This day passes. Same nothingness, no breeze, no signs of anything, no other life. Night comes. Day 4.
At this point, still no sign of return on the horizon or anything.
Don't see anything.
At this point, I might start getting worried about supplies. How's the food stores, wood stores look?
As long as you're rational, conservative, not like you gotta be limited, but just nothing crazy, conscious of it, it looks like there's a healthy supply
Okay.
for one person.
Okay. Maybe read through the journal again, read through my spell book.
Okay. Make me a survival check.
19.
Okay. Weather stays calm. The day passes with no signs of anyone on the horizon or anywhere nearby. Night comes. Wake up the next morning. Day 5. How you feeling?
Nass knows she's dead and a ghost, right?
That is a
I
good
feel
question.
like, body isn't familiar. Is trying to specifically blend in with the party, and will, basically, stuff on the sheet. Gives the impression that she would know she's just possessing a body.
Yeah, it gives the impression that she knows that she's a ghost and that just her desire for the book is kind of what's keeping her from resting.
Okay.
Does that list her spells?
Yes.
Okay. And is it just like 3 of them?
No, it was a.
Okay.
It's got 3 level 1s, 3 level 2s, and 2 level 3s, and some cantrips. I assume different than her stat block then.
Yeah.
Okay, let me look up one of hers.
That should be fine. I think the difference is just because it says as a ghost, it can't use anything that needs material components, but if it's possessing the body, I would say it could, because it now has corporeal hands to do so.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to check. I just happened to read that, sorry. But what?
Can't use clairvoyance. A focus worth at least 100 gold. Either a jeweled horn for hearing or a glass eye for seeing.
You would not have those things.
Yeah, does she have anything useful? No. Yeah, maybe just starting to think, like, maybe this is some sort of purgatory. Maybe I somehow accidentally moved on, and either this is a weird punishment or it took the body with me.
Okay. Make me a survival check for 2.
Everything's falling apart. 19.
Okay. Day passes. No signs of any return. Weather stays calm. Go to sleep. Wake up day 6. How you feeling?
Probably just really bored.
Yeah.
I don't think quite to the desperation point of trying to leave the camp to find things,
Okay.
but the idea is now entering my mind.
Okay. Make a survival check.
So, 7.
Okay. Make me a wisdom saving throw.
Oh no. Oh, please don't. Do wizards have wisdom? Probably did. I rolled a 5, so
Oh.
probably doesn't even matter. It'd be an 8 at most. 9 at most.
In that case.
Uh-oh, stuff's happening.
Have you bought me dice? I don't think you bought me any of these dice.
I don't think so.
On day 6, as you're kind of just wandering through camp, a blizzard rolls in. Visibility reduced, hearing reduced. It is slightly a welcome change from the silence you've been hearing. At least there's noise with the heavy winds now. But on that wind, you almost feel like you hear voices just kind of catching you off guard, and you spin around and nobody's there. Oh, it's just the wind. But it kind of keeps happening throughout the day. And you feel this like kind of anxious niggle at the back of your brain. And you now have an indefinite madness.
Oh.
It will last until it's cured. And you are convinced that powerful enemies are hunting you, and their agents are everywhere. You are sure that they're watching you at all times. Anyway, so yeah, you've got that until cured.
Yay. Yay.
It is considered a character flaw, so.
Okay. I guess today with the blizzard I'll be hunkered down just in the tent rather than meandering about. But probably peeking out the door all the time. Is it the kind where, like, the bottom of the tent, you could, like, look under the flaps or anything? Or is it, like, secured very down? Like, below the level of the snow?
I would say it's secured down, and the entrance is kind of top down to get in because of needing to be secured against blizzards and such, that they wouldn't want any chance of that bottom being open and letting in the cold and snow and
Right.
wind.
Okay. Yeah, just peeking out the door, looking for whoever's there.
Had to. Okay, make me a perception check.
Regular or disadvantage?
Disadvantage because of the blizzard.
12.
Okay. Nothing catches your eye. Just the steady winds. You go to sleep.
Yeah.
You wake up on day 7. How are you feeling today?
Apparently paranoid. Weather.
Still blizzarding.
Like that.
Yeah, kind of sounds like that.
Getting very Thing vibes. How is it getting to and from the supplies, and how are they looking?
It's slower than when it was clear, but the supplies are all hunkered down in a tent of their own, prepared for such an eventuality of a blizzard in the Icewind Dale tundras. So, no issues with the supplies. You probably wouldn't be able to keep a fire going at this point because of the winds and the snow.
Oh, I was assuming the fire was in the tent, just like a little space heater kind of thing.
Oh, no.
No? Okay.
They're kind of out, safety.
Makes sense. All right.
Pretty much all that's in the tents are like furs to keep warm, bundle up, and
Okay.
block the wind. It does stay relatively toasty in the tents with just your body heat kind of radiating. They're designed for this, so you haven't had an issue with the cold.
Okay. Does it look like the supplies, like it's just me that's been using them, or does anything else look like additionally
Make an
more?
investigation check.
22.
Okay. Going through the tent and kind of taking your time to really examine each area. It doesn't look like anything else has been tampered with other than what you've touched. The level of everything that you've used seems relatively the same from where you remember it being the day before.
They're clever. They have their own supplies. Can I start moving, like, if I were to try to move the supplies to the tent I'm staying in, would they all, like, fit?
Not all of them.
Maybe not so much the wood, but, like, the food.
You could bring a decent supply of food with you to the tent. This was set up for a relatively large camp, so there's definitely plenty for just one person to subsist on. You probably wouldn't need all of that.
Okay.
To take back to your tent, but you can if you want to.
Can't let them take it. I could starve out here.
How much would you want to take? Like, day, 2 days worth? Week? Month?
The idea was to try and take all of it. Like,
okay.
but, like, if it doesn't physically fit in the tent, like, I'm thinking I'm not exactly sleeping on mounds of food, but the tent basically becomes walk in with a pathway to where I sleep and sit, and everything is just food so I can keep an eye on it.
Okay, it would probably take a little bit of time to do that, but since you're staying in the big central tent, it could all fit. Probably taking most of the day, traveling back and forth in the blizzard and slow going. It's not too far away from the tents, but this is mostly like dried meat kind of food stores. So, it's not large dead carcasses or anything like that.
Okay. I think it's still fine, just a quiet one.
It's only a 30-minute playlist, so
Yeah, that was longer. Didn't think we'd been playing for 30 minutes.
it goes fast.
Yeah. Blizzarding, so I assume I can't notice any footprints. Probably think even if there were, they'd be covered immediately.
Yeah, even your own are covered pretty quickly. Did you roll survival for this day?
No, I just
Okay.
asked what the weather was.
Okay, then yeah. Go ahead.
18.
Okay. Yeah. Nothing changes. No signs of people. At this point, where the silence was pretty deafening and really starting to get to you with days of no noise, the blizzard has now slipped into that so monotonous noise, and it's so constant that it's its own form of deafening. How you feeling on this day?
The day 8 now? Like, or,
This is
It's
still
still day
7,
seven,
right? When
okay.
you're transporting all the food back to
right,
the...
yeah, okay. Worried. Well, I guess seeing the amount of food, a little less worried, but like concerned now because the hunt should have been a day or so, and I don't know if they're supposed to release me from the trial, but I assume now, like thinking like trial of isolation, this kind of makes sense, but what's the limit of it? Like, kind of pondering that.
Okay. Alright. You go to sleep. With all the food around you. It does smell pretty potent in here. A mix of good and bad scents. But definitely.
Wasn't used to this nose.
Right. You go to sleep. You wake up on day 8. Still blizzarding.
Still blizzarding.
Make a survival check.
15.
Okay. About midday, it starts to clear up. The blizzard subsides. And by about mid-afternoon, you start to hear some kind of deep noise, and you kind of look out towards the horizon area, and you do see the tribe coming into view. As they get closer, you're able to notice that their dog sleds that left mostly empty are full of reindeer meat. And the whole tribe is pretty exuberant as they return, exclaiming kind of their victory, and the queen will call out, "Ah, you're still here! Excellent! I am happy to see the camp is in good order. I expect this wasn't too much trouble for you."
Oh, not particularly, no. I think I aced the test.
Good, good. Well, we appreciate your help in this matter, and we wish you well as we need to reorganize our bounty here.
I can see. So how do I leave? Do I just...
I imagine you just go back the way you came.
I know which way I came in at this point.
Make a history check.
Oh, good. Which way you gonna fall? Which way you gonna fall? Which way? That's
I don't
just
think
super
it is.
cocked. Just try a different one. That one might be cocked. 8. Or, sorry, 11.
You kind of have like a vague sense of like that side of camp, but not exactly sure at this point which direction you walked in from.
Okay. Well, that's probably good enough for me. I think with the paranoia, I probably would have kept the belongings rather packed up, ready to go.
Yeah.
Just probably grab those and be on my way. Congratulations on the successful hunt. I hope you and your tribe eat well for many moons to come.
We appreciate that, and good luck in your service of the Frost Maiden.
Thank you.
And
I will put in the good word if I come across her in person.
if you see her in person, you are blessed indeed.
I like to think so.
She kind of gives you a bit of an eye, and the tiger kind of sniffs at that. But if nothing else, then you make your way towards the outskirts of the camp.
I'm gonna hastily do it before they see the main tent.
Okay. So you kind of scurry out of the camp a bit, and as you cross outside that threshold of the camp, you feel that tug at your center and find yourself back in the chamber that you left. That's where we're gonna end.
Okay.